Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're looking at DC Who's Who. This is issue 9. It looks like the Green Lanterns and green stuff and a whole bunch of good stuff like that. We got the I'm not going to name them all. The names are right here. But look at all these. I can't seem to place who drew this. So let's see if they got the cover credits. The earlier ones with George Perez, but no longer. Oh wow, that a lot of green and yellow. There's my favorite Alan Scott. That's my favorite Green Lantern, without a doubt. Oh, there's Ganthet, I guess. Gorilla Grodd, the original Green Arrow. There's Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. All right, let's take a look. $1. And this is, I bought this at a comic store. Notice that there's no Comics Code Authority. Why? Because this came out right directly to the direct market, comic book stores. It did not go to 7-Elevens. All right? Geez, what's wrong with me? I can't seem to make my fingers work today. All right, notice that, remember I did the last issue. This was all blank. This is a letters page, so there was like a mess up. Okay, let's see if anybody's names that I recognize. David Bedford, I don't recognize. It looks like only one letter. All right. Okay, Len Wein is the writer-editor. Len Wein, I don't know if I talked about this last issue or two, but Len Wein is a phenomenal comic book writer. He created a Wolverine. I think he created Swamp Thing. Oh my God, this guy's phenomenal. He created the new X-Men. Marv Wolfman, one of the great creators. He wrote the new Teen Titans, one of the comics that got me to enjoy DC Comics. I was a Marvel zombie for the first 20 years of my life, and then in 1985 or so, I switched over to well, not switched over, but I started enjoying DC also. We got Mike W. Barr, Gary Cohen. This is just, oh wow, E. Nelson Bredwell. I never really read this the credits down here before, but these are all titans in the comic book industry. But they don't say the cover credit, so I don't know. Anybody know who drew the cover? So now we got Garn Danuth. And if I remember correctly, he was in Warlord. Yeah, there he is, Warlord 59. And this was like a goof on, if you ask me, this was like Elric of Melniboné kind of ripoff, the albino evil warrior. Warlord was a good series. Read Warlord. That was one of the very few swords and sorcery comics that I actually enjoyed. Here we got Gemworld. Gemworld is the location for Amethyst. There we go, Amethyst. And it's a big world where each principality is based on a gem, and then the gem defines like the characteristics of the ruling class. So the Onyx people are strong warriors, the Diamond people are rich, things like that. Emerald, Diamond, Garnet, Moonstone, the Opal, Ruby, Sapphire, Sardonyx, Topaz, and Turquoise. It was better than the premise allowed it to be, if you ask me. Again, it's funny because I've been saying for has it been 2 years since I've been doing this? I think it's almost 2 years, maybe just under 2 years, that I was never a sword and sorcery fan growing up. But Warlord and Amethyst with two exceptions. And I didn't get jungle comics like Tarzan. Basically, I didn't get anything that wasn't superheroes. And here we have General Immortus. He fought the Doom Patrol. Yes, My Greatest Adventure number 80. Doom Patrol, I was going to say plagued by, but now I'm going to change the word to was charmed by these bizarre villains. If you ask me back then, and my knowledge of DC isn't as great as my knowledge of Marvel, but if you ask me, that DC kind of seemed to be, speaking of principalities and fiefdoms, I think DC was broken up into like fiefdoms. Like the Superman world rarely interacted with, say, the Doom Patrol world. And the Doom Patrol kind of had like its own world conquerors. And I do think that there was like a DC line and like a break, and then like the old National line. If you look at the Indicia, some of them say National, some of them say DC. And I think that's what, like, the National, it was more like stuck in the silly Silver Age, and then the other stuff that I liked was turning more into the Bronze Age. Maybe I'm talking out of my butt, but that's what I think. And the Doom Patrol was firmly in this goofy Silver Age, and I pretty much don't like DC Silver Age, but as I get older, the charm of it is getting to me more and more and more. So I think I don't know. I think I'm going to be revisiting DC Silver Age stuff as I get older, and why not? It is fun. And the Gentleman Ghost. I don't know why, but I love this. I just love this. The white tuxedo and you can't see his face. Who does he fight? Oh, the Flash. Again, this is Joe Kubert. And who is this? This is, I can't read that. Brett Blevins. Okay. I don't know much about him other than that is just great. That is just great. Geo-Force. This guy's a super powerful member of the Outsiders, the Batman and the Outsiders. I showcased about the issue #1 of Batman and the Outsiders a while ago. One of the very first comics that I that collected from DC, and he has Earth powers. And Tara from Tara Markova from the New Teen Titans. That was her sister. That was his sister, and he's like the crown prince of some made up. I don't even know what part of Europe he is. Some made up DC part. I just really like him. I think he's pretty cool. I didn't like the name Geo-Force for a long time, but it kind of grew on me. And he has this yellow and green costume, and then he later on he got like this like brown and yellow costume, kind of fit his color scheme a little bit more. The Ghost. Oh, who drew this? Jim Aparo. No wonder. Yeah, Jim Aparo did. He was the main artist on Batman and the Outside. I love Jim Aparo. The Ghost by Carl Potts and Bob Wiacek. I don't know. That is cool. That is just cool. I don't know anything about him. It looks like Captain Atom. That's funny because I love the Captain Atom series, and for some reason, Captain Atom and Fury of Firestorm, I got to read them both again because Here Today, Gone Tomorrow. I remember vague details, and now I'm remembering the Ghost. But matter of fact, I ripped off the Ghost for my superhero role-playing game. I really liked it. The Ghost Patrol. I know nothing about them. Nothing about them. Luke McDonald. I love Luke McDonald, and Carl Kessel is my third favorite inker. I don't know anything about them, other than I know nothing about G.I. Robot. Here's a funny thing about G.I. Robot is Jeff Johns loves G.I. Robot, and he asked DC if he could use them in a series. They said no, and he was just like, all right. So then he created Junkyard Joe, which is the same exact character, except now he owns it, and it's coming out from like Image Comics. So they could have had a Jeff Jones comic, but instead Jeff Jones gets creator-owned something because DC has these weird sweetheart deals. Chuck Dixon was talking about them, like the Wrath, who's like the evil Batman. Everybody wants to do a Wraith story, and he said they can't, and they won't talk about it, and that, there's these weird little deals that they've made, and they honor them for forever, and they're not allowed to talk about them. And that's they think that's one of the things with the G.I. Robot, and they think that's one of the things with the Wraith. But anyway, I'm talking crazy. All right, so we got Mike Chant and Murphy Anderson. So this is a robot fight, World War II. Gizmo. I've always liked Gizmo, George Perez. He's a little midget, and he could like take. I always liked the Gadgeteer villain or hero, and he could just assemble weapons in the spur of the moment. Just pretty cool. Just pretty cool. The Global Guardians. This is like a UN task force from every country. So we got Dr. Mist as their leader, the Bushmaster. I'm not going to go over them all, but just Green Fury, who became Fire from the Justice League. Ice Maiden, who became Ice. So they were Fire and Ice. Impala, Jack-o'-lantern, the Little Mermaid, Olympian. I guess I am going over. Owl Woman, Rising Sun, Seraph, Tasmanian Devil, Thunderlord, Tuatara, I don't know what that is, and the Wild Huntsman. And who drew this? Eduardo Barada. I don't know. I like them. I'm surprised that they don't, in this like global market, I don't know why they don't make a Global Guardians comic. I think that's pretty cool. Glorious Godfrey, another Jack Kirby creation. He's one of the Darkseid's minions. Yeah, Jack Kirby and Bob Smith. In the Forever People #3, he was like a charismatic bad guy that uses his wit and charm to get what he wants. My introduction to him was John Byrne using him in the Legends series. So other than that, I don't really know much about him. Again, I am now being a lunatic and getting the John Byrne. The John Byrne Forever People, because I've never read them. I've always knew about them. I read the graphic novel, but I never read them. So the Golden Gladiator, I just love. I love Gladiator stuff, comics. Do you like Gladiator movies? Russ Heath. Russ Heath is phenomenal. Does a lot of westerns. I'm starting to get into that. That's another genre I'm starting to get into. I don't know anything about him other than The Brave and the Bold, #1. So that doesn't tell me much about him. I guess he's a superhero gladiator. That looks pretty cool. He looks like a Roman legionary. The Golden Glider. That's one of Flash's Rogues Gallery. Again, I don't know much about it. Captain Cold's sister, if I remember correctly. Irv Novak and Dick Giordano. I don't know much about her. Goldface. It looks like, oh, he's all in yellow. That's one of the things I've always hated about DC is the silly weaknesses. He's in yellow, so Green Lantern can't fight him. I don't know. So he's all in yellow, so Green Lantern has to be helpless against him. Who drew him? Gil Kane. I love Gil Kane. The Gordians. The Gordians were the slavers from the Vega system that plagued the new Teen Titans and the Omega Men. Reptilian slave race. You know, you're just born to hate them. I mean, how could you not hate them? Look at this. They're reptilian slavers. What else you want me to say? Gorilla City. This is funny. Okay, let's see that. Oh, this is Bruce Patterson drew this. This is Alan Kupferberg and Rick Myra. I hated. Yeah, they always say if you want to sell your comics, put a gorilla on it. And that was like a DC. That was kind of like a Marvel thing too. And they said that there would just be notable bumps in sales if you put gorilla. Me, it was the opposite. I hated gorillas. Now I'm kind of liking them. But back then, as a kid, I was like, oh, no, not gorilla. So I always thought Gorilla City was stupid. I hated Gorilla City. But this is Flash villains. You have Solivar, who's the good gorilla, and then Gorilla Grodd, who's the bad gorilla. I don't know. I just hated that stuff. Oh, speaking of Gorilla Grodd, here he is right here. Who drew this? Carmine Infantino and Bill Sienkiewicz. Okay, this is pretty good. I whenever I do this series, I talk about how Carmine Infantino in this period. Don't judge his artwork by this. He's an old man at this point. But this is the inker kind of makes or breaks him, and that I got to say that's pretty cool. And what is he's a Flash villain with vast mental powers and mental intellect, and like telekinesis, if I remember correctly. There you go. Again, you know how I feel about gorillas. And Granny Goodness. One thing I liked, Jack Kirby pretty much said that Granny Goodness was the embodiment of communism. That's his own words, not me. And he said, of course, she's a commie. And who did? Yeah, Jack Kirby, great. And she runs Darkseid's, prison reform school / sexy chick bodyguard school. So she's the leader of the Female Furies. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, I don't know. This is the kind of stuff. As a kid, I hated all this stuff. I hated the name Glorious Godfrey. I hated Granny Goodness, and Darkseid was always cool. Desaad was always cool, but I hated it. And I got to say, I still heard a lot of the New Gods isn't one of my favorite Jack Kirby creations. I got to be honest. I'm pussyfooting around because I have so much respect for Jack Kirby, but I like Darkseid. I like Orion or and Highfather and all that. But some of the guys like Glorious Godfrey and Granny Goodness and whatever, I just hated those names. But the execution, I guess, was better than the concepts because they were endearing, and I just don't like them. Gravedigger. I know nothing about this, but Men of War #1. Who drew this first off? Dick Ayers and Ricardo Villagreen. I'm having trouble reading this blue, but I love this. Beat up warrior with the cross on the face. I know nothing about this, guys. This is something I'm interested in. I got to check this out. I can't talk about what I don't know. This is the original Green Arrow by George Tuska and Bill Ray. I don't know. I find that costume to be charming. I really do like that. So we've got more fun comics. He Oliver Queen. Now we have the Bronze Age or the Silver Age, whatever. Green Arrow. And who's this? This is Mike Grell. I love Mike Grell. Mike Grell took the hokey Green Arrow and turned him more serious with the Longbow Hunters. Gave him just regular arrows, took away the trick arrows and everything like that. And that was one of my first introductions into Green Arrow. And I got to say, it was pretty good. It was pretty adult in the best sense of the word, not porn, but adult, adult in the storytelling. I really liked it. Longbow Hunter, something to check out. Green Lantern. I always forget that Mike Grell kind of brought Green Arrow back from oblivion. Who drew this? George Freeman. That is my favorite. That's my favorite Green Lantern comic. And they always mess with his origin because they got to tie him into the modern Green Lanterns. And I forget what they did now, but some sort of energy was released in an explosion. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Alan Scott. They were going to call him Alan Ladd because like Aladdin, but Alan Ladd was a famous movie star at the time, so they changed it to Alan Scott. Which Alan Scott is a cool freaking name. Alan Scott. That is such a good secret identity. I don't know. Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, one of the best costumes of all time. I mean, come on, look at that costume. The white gloves, this is awesome. Gil Kane drew this. I do like Green Lantern. I kind of bust on him with the Weakness Yellow. I like the whole, like, cast of characters, the Guardians of the Universe. I don't like that there's 3,600 of them. To me, that, like, diminishes it, and there's, like, there's 3,600 Green Lanterns, one for each 10th of a sector, you know, radiating out of, the center of the universe. And how many of them are from Earth? You know, I don't know. I know that's Earth-centric because we're on Earth, but I don't know. I think I like Alan Moore when he really made them weird. And here's John Stewart. He's the architect ex-Marine, or I guess you are a Marine for life. I like John Stewart. This is my Green Lantern. This is the era I grew up with. I grew to like John Stewart, and then I grew to love Alan Scott as my favorite. And if I could ever turn this page, this is drawn by Joe Stanton. This is Gil Kane. Green Lantern Corps. You hear what I'm talking about? There's 8 million Green Lanterns, and I want them to be alien. I kind of like when they stay away from Earth. So Green Lantern is kind of like unique on Earth, but at the same time, it's the Lensman. If you ever read The Lensman by E.E. Smith, they were Earth evolved to this point where they could take this lens and they put it on their wrist and they became like space cops. And there was and they even had colors. There was the gray lensman, the red lensman, and then I think there was a black evil lensman. And the direct ripoff, the Green Lantern Corps is a direct ripoff of the lensman. And and they were alien. I really like that. The alien lensmen were totally alien. So some of the concepts, like they couldn't even relate to humanity. They were so different. I thought that was really cool. The Green Man. So he was a Green Lantern that gave up being a Green Lantern, if I remember correctly. Sean McMahon. I love Sean McManus. Grimbor. He fights the Legion of Superheroes. He's like space S&M guy. Yeah, Craig Hamilton, Dick Giordano. And yeah, he's like a wild man from space. That's all I know about him. The Grim Ghost. Bill Sienkiewicz. That's Sensation Comics #1. Oh wow, isn't that where Wonder Woman debuted? So wow, he's that old. I don't know anything about him. If anybody wants to leave something in the comments, I don't know anything about him. The Guardian, another Jack Kirby creation. This was like supposed to be like a Captain America for DC. It never really caught on that well, and I like that. He's like a cop with the shield that looks like a cop badge, and he's got the Newsboy Legion with him. That's such an old-fashioned thing that the little bunch of little kids. And the Guardians of the Universe, creepy blue space aliens of ultimate power. Again, I bust on the Green Lanterns, but I really do like the Green Lanterns, and I love the concept of the Guardians of the which are, like I said, it was rip-off from the Lensman, not really a rip-off, an homage. And they had the Arisians that were like these brain-like beings that controlled the Lensman or created the lens, and these are the big-brained aliens that made the power battery, the lantern battery for the Green Lantern Corps. Nothing exists in a vacuum. And these guys will freely admit they read the Lensman. Something that we don't really know anymore. I heard Ron Howard owns the rights to make the Lensman movie, and part of the charm to me of the Lensman is that it's old-fashioned. At one point in the Lensman, they were filling up one of their spaceships, and the quartermaster, the guy who's stocking up the ships, he made sure that there was enough cigars and steaks for every for every crew member, and every crew member had a hot chick secretary. And when the women were auditioning for the job, they had to turn around and twirl, because they were going to live on other planets, and they didn't want to live on other planets with ugly chicks. Would you? I know I wouldn't. If you're going to be in the space, I forget what they called it, the space agency. This was before even the Lensman. They found the lens. They were exploring the space. If you're going to land on a planet, be there for a couple of years. You want to be there with the hot chick, some steaks, and cigars. If they update for a modern audience, The Lensman, if Ron Howard ever does make these movies. It's got to be Mad Men in space. It's got to be. You know, they drive big gas guzzling cars in the future to the spaceports, and they celebrate by drinking bourbon. It's just Mad Men in space. I don't know. I'm talking about The Lensman when I'm talking about the Who's Who. But there you go. I digress because I'm crazy. All right, guys, I'm at 299 subscribers. One more subscriber, and I'll start cementing the deal about the whatever we call it, the live chat. Okay, so this is going to be fun. This is exciting. I thought I had more time to come up with something, but geez, this is happening so quick. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.